When it comes to D&D, I have a curse. And I don't mean that I've got issues with the dice, or that bad things happen to my characters. And the main conflict I have with scheduling is that I keep trying to play games with people who are based on a different continent. No, my curse is one of character design. It probably won't shock you to hear that I really like archery. And while I can do a fair amount in real life, one of the things I really enjoy in my escapism is playing characters that can do more and do it better. But D&D's relationship with archery is rocky. If I just wanted to shoot lots of arrows over the space of 6 seconds, then I could play a fighter and everything would be fine. But that I could do at home with a target. What I want out of a game is characters that can use weird and unusual abilities and have exciting flavor and physicality to the way that they use their bows. When I play a rogue, I don't want to rinse and repeat hiding and making attacks time after time after time. I want to play a charismatic Robin Hood figure, shooting their arrows while leaping through the air, swinging from ropes and chandeliers, and charming friend and enemy alike. And while I adore the vibe of a wizard casting spells through their weapons, I want to be able to have a longbow that functions as a wizard's staff, channeling elemental power through both regular and magical attacks. I want to play powerful primal archers, launching mighty arrows and then charging into the fray, shrugging off attacks in the process. Or fast, agile warrior monks, launching volleys on the fly, following them up with rapid close quarters strikes, and then dodging back out of danger before making their next shot. I'd even enjoy a paladin archer, channeling holy fury through their bow of burning gold. But Wizards of the Coast does not want me to have these, and that is my curse. That every single time I come across a class or a subclass or a build that I think would be absolutely phenomenal fun to play as an archer, there is something somewhere in there that means that you can't use ranged weapons, or you can't use two-handed weapons, or both. And I know that a lot of people will say that Ranger is the archer class, but they're not. They're the outdoorsy class. All of their core features still work with melee weapons, and the spells that don't are all optional. Meanwhile, 3 of the main martial classes in Barbarian, Monk, and Paladin, and several weapon-based subclasses like Bladesinger, College of Swords, Swashbuckler, and the UA Gladiator subclass all contain features that specifically do not allow you to use bows. And you could argue it's a matter of game balance. After all, being at a distance does have its advantages, but there's a couple of problems. The first is that many of these features do still work at range, as long as that range is done with a thrown weapon, or in some cases a hand crossbow rather than a bow. The other is that spellcasters exist, and there really isn't much that any of these classes could do with a bow that wouldn't be outpaced by a sorcerer or a wizard at the same range. Unless the DM is having every combat start at 600 feet away, but at that point it's kind of a them problem. And thirdly, it's not actually the really powerful builds that get these restrictions. A well-statted fighter with a bow can match or outpace anything that a barbarian or monk or paladin archer could do. Instead, it's always the weird, interesting, and versatile builds that get these kind of restrictions. And look, I don't need loads of archer-specific builds. What I want is for the builds that exist to be flexible. Because how cool would the features of Arcane Archer be if you could use them with a greatsword? And how fun would a monk be with a massive heavy polearm? Or a rogue performing sneak attacks with a shovel? Because in a game that's not even balanced to begin with, most of the time these restrictions are just about vibes. So while I'm absolutely going to be a menace with my Fey Wanderer in min-maxed, just imagine how much weirder I could be in future seasons if the classes were a little more flexible. Or if Tater allows it anyway.